Good evening, everybody. What is happening? Hopefully, y'all are having a wonderful day today. So, when it comes down to it today, I thought that I would review a little video. This video is going to be on the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury rematch. I thought it was an excellent performance, and I thought there was a reason why he dominated the fight so well. When it came down to it, I thought he had the perfect game plan, so I thought that I would review the fight and tell you what he's doing overall and sort of break down the fight myself. But anyways, just to give a shout out to the channel that posted this before we head into it. I believe this channel was called It's Bazooka. I'll post a link down in the description box below. If y'all want to check out the full fight without my commentary, that's fine. Hopefully I can post it on the screen, but just in case I can't, then it'll be down in the description box below. But anyways, when it comes down to it overall, so we're going to head into this fight. We're going to break it down overall, and I'm going to tell you what Tyson Fury is doing and maybe what Deontay Wilder is doing, what they're both doing or not doing overall, to make the fight turn out the way that it is. But let's head into it.
The challenger, Tyson Fury, and Fury immediately surges out to the center of the ring. Tyson Fury changed trainers leading up to this fight, now working with Javon Sugar Hill out of the Kronk Boxing Gym in Detroit, formerly under...
So first of all, and I'm going to be pausing it here and there to explain, Tyson Fury, first of all, you notice when it comes down to him, he's flicking his jab out there already. When it comes down to it overall, which is very important for a boxer because that is debatably going to be your most important punch. One adjustment that I said they would both need to do is that they would need to put their jab out there a hell of a lot more when it comes down to it. Tyson Fury did do that, and I think Deontay Wilder tried for the first couple of rounds. But not only do I think once he saw how potent Tyson Fury's jab was, but once he got knocked down in the third round, I think he kind of just fell away from it. I think he just let the jab slip away from him when it came down to it overall, which is something you don't want to do. Tyson Fury does have a better jab than Deontay Wilder, but you still always want to use the jab because it can set up very many combinations and it can set your opponent up for different punches or traps later on down the line. But once again, Deontay Wilder has never properly really been taught how to box. And keep in mind, Deontay Wilder, if you've seen a certain amount of him, if you've seen him in a lot of his fights, which I have, because I watch boxing quite often, he has a very big problem with fighters that are around his same physical dimensions, meaning what? With, sort of his same reach and his same height. Is why he's had problems against guys like Luis Ortiz, Gerald Washington, and Tyson Fury. But anyways, let's continue.
The late great Emmanuel Stewart. Tyson Fury, the lineal heavyweight champion, Deontay Wilder, has made 10 successful title defenses, tying Muhammad Ali.
He said all week long his goal was to surpass his idol, Muhammad Ali, and have the most consecutive...
Also notice how when Deontay Wilder backs up, neither of his hands are up when it comes down to it overall. Wilder does have terrible defense when it comes down to it overall. He does have a lot of flaws in his style. And this is not a Deontay Wilder hating video, but he does have a lot of flaws. And this is why Tyson Fury dominated him really the way that he did when it came down to it overall. When you notice whenever Deontay Wilder, especially when a follow-up punch is happening, he does not usually have his hands up. You'll notice later on when a follow-up punch usually does come towards his way, he pretty much twists his body, which really doesn't move his head or his body out of the way. It just moves it in a different position, so he's still available to get caught. And that's why for a certain amount of times, it looks like he might be getting hit behind the head, but he's not really getting hit behind the head. He's getting hit either behind the ear, which is not a shot behind the head, by the way. It is 100% legal in the sport of boxing. And also a shot on the side of the head. But anyways, but let's continue.
Defenses of his heavyweight world title.
Tyson Fury predicted a knockout in the second, and Fury is coming out more aggressive here in the first round compared to what he did in the first round. Big right hand, smacking up.
Now Deontay Wilder landed a right hand there. When it came down to it overall. And he lands a couple. He lands about 4 or 5 within the first couple of rounds. But then I don't think I ever see him really land a right hand again, or at least not a flush one. And really, those ones are not flush, and let me tell you why, meaning that they're not their most impactful. Tyson Fury, first of all, is sticking his lead hand out there with Deontay Wilder. As you're going to see this happen again and again and again. He uses his reach and his height to his advantage, and I said that he would need to in this fight when it came down to it overall. I said that he would need to stick his jab in Deontay Wilder's face, but on top of that, stick his lead hand in Deontay Wilder's face. This is a defensive technique overall that is used by many, many, many boxers. You have fighters like Araceli Lara doing this, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Floyd Mayweather Jr., pretty much any of the great defensive boxers are going to use this technique as long as they know what they're doing when it comes down to the overall. But they use this as a distance keeper. They use it to keep their opponents somewhat off balance, and sometimes to blind their opponents overall so they can land a counter, something like that. But anyways, pay attention to Tyson Fury's lead hand this whole entire fight, whether it be the jab or whether it be it sticking it in Deontay Wilder's face. You're going to see it time and time again. And also, he keeps throwing his jab, a little bit lower to the body. Sometimes he'll, aim towards the body, then go up towards the face, And Tyson Fury is just doing regular combinations, that make Deontay Wilder keep on guessing, even with just the jab, he keeps going to the body, then pretending to go to the body, then goes to the head. Sometimes he'll try to go to the body with the jab and then go up top with the cross. These are just simple boxing combinations to keep your opponent guessing.
Top of the head of Fury.
And there you saw it right there, the lead hand. Once again, pay attention to his lead hand the whole entire time because it is a great defensive maneuver.
Deontay Wilder.
That one was a good defense by Tyson Fury, but he landed the first right hand that he threw.
There's an overhand right blocked by Wilder, but Fury is sitting into the pocket more. You can tell he's trying to gain his comfortability. He ate that right hand, though, from Deontay Wilder. Not many people have been able to do that.
Fury's saying he doesn't want to leave this fight in the judge's hands. That's why he's trying to push the action. That's why he's trying to be more aggressive.
There's a right hand by Fury. Fury coming.
And you notice when Wilder overall is turning there, when it comes down to it, with a lot of the flaws that he has, with keeping his hands down, when it comes down to the overall, with him not really creating a vacant space successfully, when you get trapped up against the ropes like that, when, say, a Floyd Mayweather gets trapped up against the ropes or something like that, he'll quickly get the hell out of there, and overall he'll do somewhat of a half circle to get out of that space. People like Guillermo Rigondeaux, they do it a little bit differently. They kind of do a little bit of a pivot overall, and they do like a complete turn when it comes down to it, and they create a vacated space, which, ends up pretty damn successful for them. But Deontay Wilder does not create a vacated space, successfully. Whenever he's up against the ropes, whenever he has his opponent attacking him, he always just half-assedly backs up, and you can always tell where he's going. Either his head or his body is usually always wide open, and as you can see, he's already off balance because usually he's rolling on the back of his foot, on the heel of his foot, which if you're rolling on the back of your foot and the heel of your foot, really if you're on the heel of your foot or the back of your foot at all, that's a problem because you're not supposed to be in the sport of boxing. You're supposed to sort of be on the ball of your foot overall or somewhat mid-foot so you can keep very good balance. But as you can see, Wilder has terrible balance because, once again, he's never been taught proper footwork. But even just take a look at this later rounds. It's really one of the main reasons why Tyson Fury knocks him down in the fifth round with that body shot. Because he just so lazily overall backs up and he's on the heel of his foot overall and the top half of his body is leaning back. And he's completely off balance. Completely off balance. Which is why it's so easy for Tyson Fury to hit him here and there. And you can always tell where he's going. But once again, you're going to see a lot of the bad habits that Deontay Wilder has defensively.
Fury pressing the action. There's a shot, my goodness. 80 seconds to go in the first. Fury with that jab.
Also notice whenever Tyson Fury is jabbing, his head is ducked down to the right when it comes down to the overall. That way he can avoid Deontay Wilder's jab while landing his jab. So, very, very important.
The body of Wilder. Fury came into this fight 273 is what he weighed in at. 17 pounds above what he did in the first fight. Wilder, 231, 19 pounds heavier than the first fight.
There was a strong jab there by Tyson Fury that sent Deontay Wilder back a little bit. He's looking to use that extra weight that he's put on to give him what he feels like is that extra power that he needed to put down Deontay Wilder in this fight.
Well, Christina, you pointed out that during the ring walk for Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury was shadow boxing, trying to keep himself loose. Both men are in impeccable shape. Now, the chance of you big Dawson, that is a term that Tyson Fury has thrown towards Deontay Wilder's way.
Oh, good left hand by Tyson Fury.
Now, a certain amount of people mention out Tyson Fury's gloves overall. I shouldn't say people, I mean the Deontay Wilder fan base. And I've already addressed this a couple times. They've said that Tyson Fury's gloves looked awkward in both fights as if they were flapping around, yada, yada, yada. I basically already debunked that in a couple of my other videos. But when it comes down to the overall, when you take a look at Tyson Fury, someone asked me, well, then how do you explain Tyson Fury slapping Deontay Wilder, if overall his fist is not lower in the glove? Well, slapping punches sometimes do happen, and I don't think Fury overall is 100% trying to slap Deontay Wilder like he did right there, but he's trying to get around the guard, and Tyson Fury overall does have a long enough reach to get around the guard when it comes down to the overall. I think overall he's trying to grab Deontay Wilder to set him up for another punch, or sometimes slapping punches just do happen. It's not really the correct way to punch, but when it comes down to the overall, I think he sees that Deontay Wilder's right hand, is not up. He's, expecting a jab, and his right hand really is not up overall to protect the right side of his face. So, but let's continue.
And there and a strong jab by Deontay Wilder.
There's an overhand right by Fury. Fury crowding Deontay Wilder. Final moments of the first.
Oh, big
There's a
strong
jab.
jab.
Now take a look at that jab overall when it comes down to it. Let me ask you guys something. Did that look like that landed with the bottom part of the glove or with the palm padding? Because there is a lot of Deontay Wilder fans alleging that Tyson Fury overall was hitting him with the bottom part of the glove where there was no padding. Which wouldn't make any sense overall. Then overall for the whole entire fight, you should be hitting with the bottom part of the glove, because overall that would mean that that's where your main power is. And if you hit him with the top point of your glove, there's going to be no conviction, no type of power in any way in your punches. But you can very clearly see that the slapping punches, or the punches overall that seem to happen near the palm area, they don't usually happen in either fight that often. They happen here and there, but when it comes down to it, the only reason why that usually happens is because Tyson Fury is either trying to get around the guard when it comes down to it, or sometimes his jab hand will move, the wrist will move, because he's trying to keep Deontay Wilder's face, at bay. He's trying to overall keep him at bay and stick his lead hand in his face. But let's continue.
A jab that snapped back the head of the champion. Fury has shown that he can stand in the line of fire and be okay, at least through the first round.
Very good first round by Tyson Fury, but Deontay Wilder remaining calm, understanding that it is a marathon and not a sprint. He has been known to give away rounds early to get his timing down to land that right hand.
Now we'll listen in to Javon Sugar Hill in the corner of Tyson Fury.
JD, Mark Breland, the combo that has worked with Deontay since day one. He said, I am loyal to my team. These guys have stuck by me. Fury's got a lot of this nervous energy. What is he on, his 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th trainer?
That's what it
It's
seems like.
something that he's talked about. That's at least coming from Deontay's mouth. He said, me and my team, they know me inside and out, and that's what helps give me the confidence to fight at my very best.
Tyson Fury seems to be very comfortable in that ring, Christina, as Deontay Wilder waiting, looking for that big shot.
And it is round 2, the round that Tyson Fury all promotion long has said he is going to stop Deontay Wilder.
What a monumental moment that would be, but for Deontay Wilder, he has the highest knockout percentage in heavyweight championship history. 34 years of age is the problem.
Once again, take a look at overall where Deontay Wilder's hands are. And I understand to a certain degree, because sometimes Wilder and a certain amount of other people will try to lead their opponents basically out and try to counter them. But this isn't the type of opponent overall to deal with. Tyson Fury has a 2-inch reach advantage over this guy when it comes down to it. Once again, Wilder has a lot of poor defensive habit. He really doesn't have a defense to speak of, really, in all honesty, when it comes down to it. But Tyson Fury, once again, he has very long arms. He has a long reach. He has, a very potent jab, and he pretty much has a defense to try and keep Deontay Wilder's right hand off of him. So if you're Deontay Wilder, you at least want to keep your right hand up overall. You want to keep your jab in his face. You want to be moving, side to side overall when it comes down to Wilder's not doing any of this when it comes down to the overall. He has very poor defensive habits. And like I said, you're going to tell by the poor defensive habits that he has. This is a guy that has relied a lot on being taller and just having longer reach than a lot of his opponents. You can just tell this in a certain amount of the other fights, because usually he'll just stick his jab in someone's face, and that will usually keep him off of him. Well, now he's in there with an opponent that has overall a little bit of a longer reach than him, is a little bit taller than him, and knows how to box very, very well. You know, and Deontay Wilder, you're just going to see the problems that he has adjusting throughout this fight the whole entire time.
Bomber from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. But Fury's jab seems to be problematic right now for the Bronze Bomber. There's a big jab. It was almost a jab followed by it was like a jab left hook combination of sorts. Big right hand. That's.
And you notice that Deontay Wilder landed a right hand there, which was a very good right hand by Deontay Wilder, which Tyson Fury should have not been taking those shots. But when it came down to it, the reason why you didn't see him get knocked down is because when it comes down to it, he's rolling with the punches. You know, he's keeping him at bay. He's sticking the lead hand out there. I mean, he's backing up. A lot of people said that he just went in there like Mike Tyson. No, he didn't go in there like Mike Tyson. What Tyson Fury was doing is that he was putting Deontay Wilder on the back foot intelligently. And I think he's seen, you know, probably if they studied both Luis Ortiz fights, combined with a little bit of the first fight when he sometimes would put Wilder on the back foot. Wilder is not a good fighter on the back foot. When it comes down to it over, he really has no chance of fighting on the back foot whatsoever, because he's so limited as a fighter overall when it comes to his skill set. He has such poor balance, such poor footwork, such poor coordination and rhythm when it comes down to it overall, that if you put him on the back foot, he's pretty much useless. For Deontay Wilder to get that main punch off overall, you know, he has to be coming forward towards you, or he has to be planted. So if you back him up and if you let him plant, yeah, he can get that punch off. But if you consistently stick a decent jab in his face, keep him guessing overall, if you keep distance very well by keeping that lead hand in his face at times, you know, overall, like both Luis Ortiz and Tyson Fury did, you know, you pretty much have him. You know, the problem is Luis Ortiz is that eventually after 6 or 7 rounds, he pretty much just tires out. And he gets a little bit too relaxed and too lackadaisical overall, and eventually he gave Wilder too much time, and he knocked him out in both fights. Tyson Fury's not giving him any breaks here. He's always consistently fighting to the game plan. He's constantly keeping Deontay Wilder guessing with the jab. He's constantly putting the double jab in his face or a lead hand in his face overall to make sure the right hand don't land, or he's pushing him up against the ropes to make sure that he cannot do anything. Because you'll notice throughout this whole entire fight, Wilder up against the ropes with his back, up against the ropes. He pretty much has no answers whatsoever. He can't do anything whatsoever. But you're gonna see it.
Now back to head of Fury. Wilder sprayed him with that shot. And don't forget Tyson Fury.
And this is why, in my opinion, it was so necessary to change his game plan. You know, a lot of people, they might ask, well, did you agree with Tyson Fury changing his game plan? I thought it was 100% necessary when it came down to it, because Wilder's power was for real when it came down to the overall, and I think Fury knew that, and he said, am I really going to be able to avoid this for 12 whole rounds? I think that's what he asked when it came down to it. Now, Wilder, he gained some weight, as I saw, and I think the reason why he gained some weight is because he wanted some extra pop in his punches, because he wanted to make sure that Fury would be down for a 10 count this time. I don't think that was the greatest idea. I didn't mind Fury gaining the weight, if we're just talking about the weight real quick, because I had seen Fury at around that weight before. Deontay Wilder, I had never really seen him around that weight before when it came down to it, and he already doesn't have a good stamina. He already does not have good stamina and a good gas tank at that. So, personally, if you were to ask me about that, I didn't mind Tyson Fury gaining the weight, but Deontay Wilder was not a huge fan of that move because, once again, I'd never seen him at that weight before, and you know, he already does not have good stamina anyway. Combined with the fact that you're in there with an opponent that obviously gained some weight to probably lean on you and tire you out, you know, was going to gain some power in this fight and has a 40-pound weight advantage over you. I did not think it was a good idea. But, of course, he probably didn't know Fury was going to be 40 pounds heavier than him before the fight, but he had to know overall somewhat that he was going to be heavier than him, just like he was in the first fight. So, you know, it's whatever. But anyways, let's continue.
His last fight against Otto Wallin had 47 stitches in his right eye. There's a left hook that missed by Wilder, right hand, as Fury tying up. We're coming up on 100 seconds to go here in the second round.
Both fighters exchanging big leather here. Early and often, the jab of Tyson Fury and the right.
And there's a lead hand again. Once again, pay attention to the lead hand this whole entire fight. He never lets it go. He never stops jabbing Deontay Wilder to the face. He never stops the lead hand. Even when you see Deontay Wilder exhausted and hurt later on, he is consistently keeping that jab in his face. Why? Because he doesn't want to risk getting hit by that right hand. And very, very smart. You know, very, very smart. But the jab and the lead hand is very key to being successful against any opponent.
Hand of Deontay Wilder.
The jab right to the abdomen by Deontay Wilder. When I asked JD's earlier today about the weight gain by Deontay Wilder, he goes, look, we don't monitor that. As long as he's eating well, feeling well, we don't monitor that. This is the heavyweight division. So they were very quick to dismiss that there was any gamesmanship or reason why he gained the weight.
In fact, in the fighter meetings, he did say, we don't even keep a scale in the gym. We don't weigh each other come fight week. It's not a point of emphasis in our training camp.
And Kenny Bayless will separate them as Tyson Fury holding on to the right arm or left arm of Deontay Wilder. Kenny Bayless looks at Fury, big right hand by one.
And Fury, as you see, very defensively responsible. A lot of the times when that right hand comes in, he's ducking under it immediately. Then he sort of drags Deontay Wilder into a clinch, or he might push him off. But Tyson Fury knows how to create a vacated space. Look at how much space they have between them right now. Deontay Wilder does not know really how to create a vacated space successfully. He's very slow when he does it overall. He doesn't have proper footwork. He doesn't use his legs overall as good as he probably should, And combined with that, it makes it that much easier for your opponent to really cut the ring off on you. But anyways.
Wilder. Fury, though, turned his head to the side and got clipped a little bit. It was a grazing shot. A stiff jab by Fury. Both men have had glimpses of brilliance here in the fight, Christina, thus far.
They haven't. Both men have seemed to establish their...
Once again, every time Fury's landing the jab, he's dipping down to the right, or at least usually. He's making sure that Deontay Wilder misses with that jab, and that overall, he gets the jab in there.
Dominance in terms of their strong punches, the strong lead jab for Tyson Fury, and the right hand for Deontay Wilder. We're saying it time and time again, but a right hand from Fury got in on that exchange as Wilder smartly clinches and walks it back to the center of the ring.
And Kenny Bayless will separate the two. Deontay Wilder looking to launch that right hand, which has put away so many. Deontay Wilder, this is his third rematch. Big right hand by Wilder again.
Another big hand by Deontay Wilder, which I believe would be the last right hand in this fight that he would really land, period, when it comes down. Just take a look at Deontay Wilder's footwork right there. Does that foot right there, especially the right foot, look like it is it is correct footwork overall to land the right hand in boxing? No. No, it's not. But once again, Wilder has never properly been trained how to box when it comes down to the overall.
And Fury eats it well, but back comes Fury. Oh my goodness.
And that's why it's so easy to knock him off balance like overall he did there. Wilder, about 90% of the time, he usually is completely off balance when it comes down to the overall. It's just Fury finally had, enough weight and was big enough to really show you that, you can't knock Deontay Wilder down. That, and he had enough power. He did hurt him. So, but let's continue.
They're fighting even after the bell.
Every Wilder right hand is like big right hand.
Well, that's what it is.
I know.
And he's landing it. He's landing it.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
Fury's eating it.
It's crazy to me.
The guy said that Tyson Fury is eating the right hands. He's eating them slightly. He's not completely eating them full punch. Because if he did eat them full punch, I can guarantee you Wilder has enough power to knock Fury back on his ass. But when it comes down to the overall bottom line is this, Tyson Fury, when it comes down to it, once again, he's rolling with the punches. He's sticking his lead hand out there the majority of the time, trying to keep Wilder off of him, and he's rolling back a little bit when it comes down to he's rolling back. He's making sure that he's rolling with the punch and that it doesn't have that much pressure or that it doesn't have, that much damage, Because, of course, when two objects collide, there's going to be a bigger accident or there's going to be bigger damage. Like when you have two cars collide together, it's going to have bigger damage. But if you have one car that's already sort of driving and then the car hits the back of that car or another car hits the back of that car, while the car is already driving forward, then you're going to have less damage, because it's moving away from it. So, but anyways.
It's like he doesn't know how to just kind of tap that out there. It comes with everything behind it just like that. And he took it.
And another one. And let's take a look at, that was a right hook
Nice
by
by
Fury.
Yeah.
Once again, when Deontay Wilder overall, very, very poor defensive habits. Very poor defensive habits. He does not react very quickly to certain situations overall. He does not create a vacated space. Once he missed that right hand overall, he should have tried to turn around immediately or should have tried to pivot with the foot overall to put himself in a better position or create a vacated space. But he just so slowly turns around overall. Once again, you can see a lot of very lazy defensive habits. And this is the reason why for this is because, once again, this is a guy that's relied on his size and his reach advantage for a very, very long time. Well, now he's in there with a guy overall that has around the same reach and height, and he's having a hell of a time.
That's very nice. Probably after the bell.
And they both, what excitement here in Las Vegas.
And you know what? It does something for both fighters' confidence. Fury, knowing he's taken that right hand through 2 rounds and eaten it, and Wilder knowing he's pretty much been able to land it at will.
Exactly so. Both confidence boosters for each fighter.
Fantastic fight through 2 rounds so far. Action, clean punches. It's been beautiful so far. Ebbs and flows. Loving it.
And Kenny Bayless warns about the heads and not kind of leading with the head. Round 3, Ray Flores, Christina Pancho, the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the world is on the line. Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder battling stiff jab again.
Now, certain people, including Deontay Wilder himself, said that his legs overall were gone within the first 2 couple rounds. His legs actually go after that knockdown in this round, and you're going to see that overall. Once that knockdown happens, he's never the same throughout the whole entire fight.
The Gypsy King.
Jab land to the body there by Fury.
And Fury steps in with the jab, but that was blocked by Wilder. Both men with very entertaining ring moves. A right hand!
And I want to rewind that real quick because this goes back to something I said earlier. First of all, once again, pay attention to the jab. Pay attention to the lead hand when it comes down to the overall because it's going to be very, very important in this fight, like I said. When you take a look at Deontay Wilder, take a look at how his body moves when that right hand overall is coming. Take a look at where his hands are. Take a look at overall the way his feet move. Take a look at overall how his body moves because he doesn't create a vacated space. He doesn't really move out of the way. When he sees a follow-up punch happen, he pretty much twists his body, which in turn overall is going to make the punch hit the side of his head, sometimes near back of the head, or sometimes behind the ear. When it comes down to the overall, that's what usually happens because Wilder doesn't really... he doesn't really move out of the way of a punch. He just really twists his body. Once again, very poor defensive habits. These are all signs of a fighter that has really used their height and reach advantage and has really relied on it for a very long time, but has never really developed the proper skills to defend.
Body there by Fury.
And Fury steps in with the jab, but that was blocked by Wilder. Both men with very entertaining ring moves. A right hand!
Like I just said, when it comes down to the overall, and this is a round where you also start to see Tyson Fury clinch with Deontay Wilder. I showed this fight overall to a certain amount of my friends who don't really know that much about boxing, and they said, well, why is Tyson Fury clinching with him, all this sort of stuff. The reason why he's clinching with him and leaning on him and a certain amount of other things, so clinching with him overall to frustrate him and to make sure that right hand overall does not get off because you don't want that right hand getting off. And on top of that, when it comes down to the overall, so basically to nullify his weapon or to count it out. And he's also leaning on him, headlocking him, and dragging him to tire out Deontay Wilder. Because Deontay Wilder has to completely try to keep his own body up or, fight Tyson Fury off of him. And he's pretty much fighting dead weight with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury has a 40-something pound weight advantage against Deontay Wilder. So when it comes down to it, he's tiring him out very slowly. Like I said, it's kind of like a crocodile taking and I said this in another video, it's kind of like a crocodile taking an animal into deep waters, slowly just ragdolling them, and then, eventually they just take them into deep waters and they slowly drown them. That's what Tyson Fury is doing. He's roughing with them a little bit overall, and then he just he'll go to the body, he'll lean on you, he'll just slowly fill your lungs with water and eventually drown you. And there's really not much you can do. Or there's really not much Deontay Wilder can do. Excuse me.
Wilder got clipped.
But why did Fury hold? Why did he smother his punches?
Or could it have
That was
started from Deontay Wilder? Could he have engaged the clinch? A right hand that connects by Fury.
Wilder.
And it's Deontay Wilder now starting to get desperate. That right hand overall was much more anticipated. It was much more advertised overall than it was before. Because once Tyson Fury started landing those decent right hands and he's having a very, very good round, Wilder all of a sudden is starting to lose confidence in his jab. He's starting to lose confidence in a lot of other things. And just like a lot of other one-trick ponies and one-dimensional fighters, when overall, some of their other basic things do not work, they're always going to resort back to their main basics. Really, a lot of people in general, whenever they're fearful, whenever overall something's not working, they always resort back to the basics. But Deontay Wilder now, he was being a little bit patient with it at first. Now overall, he's going a little bit quicker with it. Now you see him trying to do it a little bit more recklessly because he's losing confidence in this round. Because Tyson Fury is basically, completely outboxed him in this round. And the guy said merely inches when it comes down to the overall. Let me tell you something. The best boxers, especially the best defensive boxers, they'll make you miss merely by inches when it comes down to the overall. You know, that's usually the sign of a very great defensive boxer. And usually when, you know, you let your opponent merely miss by inches, it sets them up for a counter that you could potentially throw. All right?
In the third round.
Once again, notice how his lead hand is in Deontay Wilder's face. And that must have been one of the punches overall that many people overall were saying, well, why would Tyson Fury overall just stick his hand in Wilder's face like that? Why is he jabbing him in his face like that? That wasn't really a jab to the face. He was sticking his lead hand in his face when it comes down to it. Let's just rewind that when it comes down to it. You're going to see sort of the wrist area in Deontay Wilder's face, but he's sort of putting his whole hand in Deontay Wilder's face because he's trying to keep him off of him, is what he's trying to do. He's trying to overall keep him off balance, push his head back, temporarily blind him. You're going to see Tyson Fury is trying to land that right hand. He's trying to overall keep his face back. He's trying to blind him, and he's trying to land that right hand. Just watch.
Right there, Ray.
Merely inches, Christina. As a minute has come off the clock in the third round.
As you see in there, he was going to try to land that right hand, but he saw overall Deontay Wilder coming with the right himself, and that lead hand overall is meant to actually somewhat nullify that right hand in the first place. It's meant to push his face back overall, you know, and Wilder really has no answers for that jab or that lead hand this whole entire fight. That's a big part of the reason why he was very unsuccessful. When it comes down to it overall, he put that lead hand in Deontay Wilder's face. It pushes his face back. It temporarily blinds him. Deontay Wilder tried to get a right hand off, but Tyson Fury overall ducked down, and then he clinched with him to make sure overall that he couldn't get any other punches off. But that's the punch that he's trying to get. And I wish I could have got the Anja Ward and Lennox Lewis commentary because they actually were saying some very good things. Because once Tyson Fury does knock down Deontay Wilder, Anja Ward says, and that's the punch he was trying to go for the whole entire time. Which, you know, you could tell overall because Tyson Fury, he was trying to stick his lead hand out there. He was trying to either duck down and get the right cross in there, or he was trying to back up and have Deontay Wilder overextend and then land the right hand. You know, but he tried overall. He wasn't moving around well enough overall in the first couple rounds, and that's why he got hit, you know, in the first couple of rounds. But now he's putting Deontay Wilder on the back foot a little bit more consistently. He's, you know, using his jab a little bit more. And as you can see, Wilder, he has no answers.
Stop back. There you go.
And Kenny Bayless will step in between the two.
It was Deontay Wilder.
Right hand by...
And also take a look at where Wilder's hands are once again. Whenever a follow-up punch happens, he either twists his body or he tries to stick his lead hand out there. And it's not a bad thing to stick your lead hand out there. But Wilder's legs are not moving. He's not moving back. When you see Tyson Fury overall, once again, he's not just charging in there like a Mike Tyson. What Tyson Fury is doing is that he's putting him on the back foot intelligently. And that's not to say Mike Tyson was not an intelligent fighter, because he was. But when it came down to the overall, like I said, Tyson Fury, he's doing something a little bit different. He's still moving back and forth when he comes down to it. You know, his legs and his body are still moving back and forth, you know, whenever he needs to. But when it comes down to the overall, like I said, you know, he's just jabbing him consistently. And Mike Tyson used to do that to his opponents as well. To get on the inside, he would always utilize a very, very good jab, you know, while dipping his head a little bit or moving side to side when it comes down to it. But Tyson Fury, you know, he's sort of going in there right now, you know, with the lead jab in there. He will move back and forth, you know, when he needs to, when it comes down to it. But once again, Deontay Wilder, he's not moving his legs. He's not moving back and forth. He's not moving at all. His legs are planted into the ground, and that's why he got hit there. On top of that, he doesn't have his hands up. But anyways.
Fury.
That landed more jabs and threw.
Tyson Fury is an excellent judger of distance. Wilder is not, as you can see here. Or at least not with his taller opponents.
More jabs in fight number one, and it has been Tyson Fury who's worked and landed the jab perfectly here in fight number two.
There's a right hand by Wilder.
And there's the lead hand once again when it comes down to the overall. Always sticking it in his face or in his shoulder or in his chest and his neck to keep that right hand away from him, or to make sure that it lands with the least amount of power as possible.
They're coming forward. Seems to me, though, Christina, like Wilder is breathing heavy, at least from this standpoint. Blood streaming a little bit from the mouth of Wilder. But the champion has...
Now, did it look like those punches landed with the bottom part of the glove? I'm just asking, because there's a lot of Deontay Wilder fans, like I said, overall, that are alleging that Tyson Fury hit him with the bottom part of the glove, which I don't think would ever really work anyways, even if he did try to do it. But when it comes down to the overall, you can clearly see a lot of these punches are landing with the top part of the glove when it comes down to the overall. And there's no way he'd have that type of power and conviction in his punch if it was at the bottom part of the glove. when it comes down to the overall. So they have to be inside the gloves. And on top of that, there's tape around them, and they were checked out and everything like that. So once again, the guy's claiming that that Tyson Fury, screwed around with his gloves, or you did something illegal. There's really no evidence of this whatsoever, and it's pretty much overall just a bunch of hot air. But we'll see a bunch of other flush shots that land later on as well.
With the likes of Luis Ortiz.
Absolutely.
And
Twice.
he's been in some tough predicaments.
Once again, take a look at where overall the punch is landing. It's landing on the top part of the glove.
Wilder won the world title here in January of 2015. A right hand by Fury.
Here we go.
Coming up on a minute to go here in the third. And so far, no ill remnants of that cut by Fury against Otto Wallin.
And overall, take a look at the lead hand right there. Once again, always pay attention to the lead hand when it comes down. I'll say it a million times, because he sticks his lead hand out there when it comes down to it, and then he uses that to keep his head off, to blind him, temporarily, and then he sneaks in a right hand. He steps off, and then he sneaks in a right hand. That lead hand is very, very important. Like I said, this is used by a lot of your great defensive boxers. Mayweather has done this. Lara has done this. Guillermo Rigondeaux has done this, and now of course you see Tyson Fury doing this. Terrence Crawford does this as well. I see a little bit of Lomachenko do this, even though he primarily is an offensive fighter, but when he's on his more defensive, or even when he is pressuring people up against the ropes like a Nicholas Walters, or a couple other people, he will stick his jab in their face to temporarily blind them, yada, yada, yada.
And I know everything that Fury does, the crowd goes crazy. There's no hiding the fact that this is a pro-Fury crowd. But so far, he has been able to impose his will, particularly with a punch as simple as the jab.
Now, before the knockdown happens, because this is when it happens, take a look at what Deontay Wilder's response is overall to Tyson Fury punching at him. He has the same response as earlier. He twists his body, but his head and his body really do not move when it comes down to the overall. And this shot, by the way, is a shot behind the ear. It's not a shot behind the head, so it is 100% legal.
And win the first couple rounds.
All right, and down goes Wilder. Down goes Wilder. He's knocked down. Oh my goodness.
7, 8.
Can Tyson Fury finish off Deontay Wilder? A right hand, Wilder is hurt. Wilder's legs are not underneath.
Now, Wilder is hurt right now. So you got to ask yourself, overall, if you're someone like an Antonio Margarito, who does use tainted hand wraps or uses tainted gloves when it comes down to it overall, because once again, this is what a lot of the Deontay Wilder fans are alleging. And they're alleging overall that especially the left-handed Tyson Fury was the one overall where he had his fist lower into the glove so he can hit him with bare knuckles. Well, if Deontay Wilder is hurt, why overall would you not be consistently trying to hit him with left hooks? Why is he trying to hit him with his right hand? That would be the question, because Margarito, it sort of made sense. One of the things that Nassim Richardson noticed about him is that he would always go after Cotto's or a certain amount of other people's elbows and joints and a certain amount of other things, when it comes down to the overall, especially I believe with his left hand, which I believe overall was the main one, I believe, which was caught, with plaster of Paris. However, he might have used it in both hands. But when it came down to the overall, once again, their theory doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Wilder is in huge trouble. No knockdown. No knockdown.
He's got to get out of this round, right? He bought himself some time right there.
Something about the legs of Deontay Wilder isn't working. His legs are gone underneath him.
They say something about Deontay Wilder's legs are not working. The reason overall why they're not working is because he's getting his ass kicked overall by a fighter. Once again, take a look at how Wilder is not adjusting in this fight whatsoever. He's not adjusted. He made no adjustments, and you know why that is? Because he can't. He doesn't really have anything else in his arsenal. He has really very low boxing IQ, and a lot of people are going to get angry at that, but it is what it is. Very low boxing IQ. He basically has no answers here. He's not sticking his jab in Tyson Fury's face. He's not going to the body. He's not trying to set up certain other punches. He's just really, really frustrated right now, and he's trying to repeatedly go for the right hand. Tyson Fury is now consistently putting him on the back foot, and you also saw a decent amount of clinching there. He's starting to lean on Deontay Wilder. This is where he saw Deontay Wilder hurt. But you notice Tyson Fury did not just completely go for the knockout when it comes down to the overall. He also is starting to lean on him. He's starting to clinch with them. So he said, well, you know what? Just in case we don't knock him out immediately, we're going to lean on him. We're going to slowly tire him out within time. then eventually that big tree will get chopped down.
Wow.
This is a moment for Deontay Wilder.
Wow. You said it, Ray. You said he looked fatigued.
No, wait a minute, Christina. The ear is bleeding, so the equilibrium may be off. The ear is...
That cut in the ear, by the way, was not a burst eardrum, you know, so the equilibrium was off because he was hurt, and on top of that, he doesn't really have good balance or coordination anyways. But when it comes down to the overall, like I said, no, actually it was not a burst eardrum. It was released the day after the fight that it was actually a big cut in Deontay Wilder's ear that I believe required stitches, but no, there was no burst eardrum.
bleeding to Deontay Wilder. He may have busted his eardrum.
Wow. What a great observation, Ray.
There he goes.
That punch right there, I've done it, where he winced when he went down with that big right hand from Tyson Fury.
He may have shattered his eardrum, Christine.
Now let's take a look overall where that left hand landed, because when it comes down to it, it's basically in the middle part of the glove when it comes down to the overall, with the front part of the padding, and it is more of a slapping punch. But when it comes down to it, as you can see, Tyson Fury is not just completely trying to knock Deontay Wilder out with that punch. He's setting up the right hand. And sometimes to do that overall, you know, some people will do slapping punches. And you don't usually want to do slapping punches because that's not really the right technique. But the glove overall is not flopping around there. It's not flopping around whatsoever. When it comes down to it, it lands basically pretty much straight when it comes down to it. And the main punch that hurts him is the right hand. All right, but he's doing that overall to get around the guard. That's the reason why he's doing that. He's not doing that because he has his hand lower in the glove and he's hitting him with the middle joints of his fingers overall to, you know, which really wouldn't do that much damage in the first place and would break your fingers pretty much immediately. When it comes down to the overall, he's doing that to get around Deontay Wilder's guard. But anyways.
Now, with that right hand. Look at Wilder again. The right hand.
And once again, that was a punch behind the ear, which is not an illegal punch.
That connected for Fury, and he may have busted the eardrum of Deontay Wilder. Wow. So, Wilder was knocked down in the third. We'll see.
And now you're going to see Tyson Fury overall start to clinch with him, lean on him, but notice how he never gets rid of the basics. He always keeps jabbing to his face. He always keeps backing him up. You know, he always keeps putting him on the back foot because, once again, Wilder is not good on the back foot.
If Wilder can regain his composure.
A punch to the back of the head.
Now, Kenny Bayless just said stop a couple of times. Tyson Fury overall threw it in there, I believe, but Deontay Wilder just threw an illegal punch to the back of the head when it comes down to it overall. You know, many of the Deontay Wilder fans also tried to allege that Deontay Wilder did not have the advantage with the referee. But you can very clearly see overall if anyone actually had the advantage, it would have been Deontay Wilder. Because if the referee was looking to take away points, shouldn't he have been taking away a point from Deontay Wilder from just punching Tyson Fury in the back of the head?
They're going to get a warning here to keep this clean right now.
You hear me? I'm gonna start deducting points. If you keep going after I say, time it.
Deontay Wilder put down in the third. I believe the first time he's ever been down in his career.
And once again, you're going to start to see him clinch with him and lean on him a hell of a lot more. He knows he has Deontay Wilder hurt. He's just making for sure that eventually he's going to be done. He's going to make sure that he's exhausted. Overall, once again, he's taking him into deep waters and he's slowly drowning Deontay Wilder. That's what he's doing.
We'll see if Wilder can connect. And here comes Fury again. Fury looks tremendous here, the champion, facing adversity as Deontay Wilder. Oh, and down goes Wilder. No knockdown. But Wilder's legs are still wobbly.
And he's still bleeding out of that left ear as Fury lands a shot to the body right there. Deontay Wilder, don't forget, still has that one-hitter quitter. Still has that right.
Right to the bottom.
Also notice how he's going to the body, which is an adjustment overall that they needed to make. Tyson Fury is making Deontay Wilder guess overall where his punches are going to be coming from every angle. Not only is he roughing him and drowning him very slowly when it comes down to the overall by leaning on him, clinching with him, he's also going to the body. You know, the jab overall, it could be going to the face, could be going to the body. Once again, he's keeping Deontay Wilder guessing. And on top of that, you know, Wilder doesn't know if he's going to go to the head or to the body when it comes down to the overall because Fury is mixing things up.
Deontay Wilder has to dig deep. Another right hand.
Once again, especially after the clinch, take a look at how poorly prepared Deontay Wilder is for an incoming punch. He doesn't move back, he doesn't move his legs, doesn't move his feet, doesn't put his hands up. Just basically took that right hand right down the pipe. And now you see Deontay Wilder once again getting desperate, and you see how less of steam he has on that punch now when it comes down to it. He doesn't have that much steam on his punches anymore on that punch when it comes down to it. He is exhausted. His legs look pretty much gone at this point. You know, he is exhausted. He's hurt, you know, once again. But Tyson Fury still is taking no chances, as you see even right there. Look at how much space Tyson Fury has. When Deontay Wilder threw that right hand, Fury made sure overall to keep that lead hand in his face. He also made sure to have enough space just in case he was going to throw something else to create a vacated space. Tyson Fury is not just going in there like a Mike Tyson. When it comes down to the overall, he's moving in and out very intelligently.
Mark of the fourth. The first time Wilder has ever been knocked down, or he was down. This is the second time he's been down. He was down almost 10 years ago. A sweeping right hand and look at Fury.
And notice how he's always trying to keep something in Deontay Wilder's face when he's backing up, because Deontay Wilder then starts to lose confidence. He starts to back up against the ropes. When he has a consistent jab in his face, he has a very tough time countering that. He really has no answers to that. And if you back him up against the ropes, you know, he's pretty much useless, helpless, because he doesn't have any answers to do. He doesn't know what to do up against the ropes. He has horrible ring generalship.
Here we go. Fury is trying to pour it on to Deontay Wilder. Wilder unable to land that home run shot. Under a minute to go here in the fourth.
Tyson Fury needs to be careful when he leans in. He's dropping that left hand. You know what that means for Deontay Wilder. It leaves a wide open right hand landing. So he needs to be very careful when he leans in and drops that left hand.
Also take a look at the difference between Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fighting in on the clinch. You know, so once again, the Deontay Wilder fans, they were alleging that, you know, now we know why Tyson Fury was throwing uppercuts in the clinch, because he obviously had his hands at the lower part of his thing, all this other stupid bullshit when it comes down to the overall. Tyson Fury was throwing uppercuts inside the clinch because he was roughing up Deontay Wilder inside the clinch to tire him out even more. When it came down to it, he was completely bullying Deontay Wilder in here.
Also, Wilder bleeding from his mouth. Second time Deontay Wilder's been down in his career, left hook, but Fury seeming to be in control thus far.
Work out.
And Wilder seeming
A right hand by Fury.
to clinch each time they get close.
And the girl just said that, to clinch each time they get close. And that is a genius move, because once again, that makes sure that, first of all, it's frustrating him, leaning on him. And look at the way that he's leaning back. He's dragging Deontay Wilder. When you get dragged in the ring like that overall, it takes a lot of stamina out of you, it takes a lot of energy, because you're trying to keep yourself up. You know, when your opponent drags you, once again, it's like a crocodile dragging something into water. They slowly tire it out first, and then they drown it underwater. You know, or in some cases when it comes down to it. But y'all know what I mean. That's what Tyson Fury is doing right now. He's just slowly tiring him out. He's dragging him. He's roughing him around. He's clinching with him. He's leaning on him. All this takes away your stamina. When it comes down to the overall clinching with him, make sure not only that he frustrates Deontay Wilder, but when it comes down to, once again, to make sure that he nullifies that right hand.
Wilder does.
When he does that overall, what he just did, you have to fight not only against, you know, your weight, but your opponent's weight. When it comes down to the overall. And with Wilder, someone who added about 20-something pounds, give or take, you know, and who already doesn't have a good gas tank, this was a very good tactic by Tyson Fury.
Doesn't seem to be himself, and it's probably because of the technical brilliance of Tyson Fury, but it seems like Deontay Wilder is off in some way physically. Who knows, a right hand by Wilder.
And there overall is a right hand once again, but once again, you notice that it doesn't have any steam on it whatsoever. He's basically completely done at this point. I won't say completely done, but his stamina, it's very, very low at this point. Excuse me. It's very low at this point when it comes down to it, and Tyson Fury is just completely wearing on him. But notice he's not avoiding the basics. He's keeping that lead hand in his face. He keeps jabbing him overall, and he keeps, moving off, creating vacated spaces very successfully.
Wilder.
Has to stay the course. You cannot get reckless, no matter how much success you're having. And that was one point that he made in the meeting about how confident he felt early in that first fight. He allowed himself to get loose, get reckless, and overconfident, and that's when he got caught in the knife.
What a, my goodness, Christina.
Wow.
Let's take a look back at some of the action.
Strong jab, right hand just clips there, nearly misses Deontay Wilder. But Wilder really not landing very many punches, and that was an adequate slip right there. No punch there connected on that.
Something above the legs, though, Christina, does not seem right with Deontay Wilder, and he gains a lot of his power punching from his legs. So there's something with the legs that I can't pinpoint, but it doesn't seem right from the champion. But for Tyson Fury, he looks exceptional.
And they're ready to go before even Kenny Bayless can let the bell ring here.
Tyson
For
Fury,
round
this
five.
would be the biggest win. A right hand hit.
Great right hand by Tyson Fury. And once again, you see Deontay Wilder turning his body. It's just, he's not doing it 100% correctly when it comes to that. And sometimes it's okay to pivot when it comes down to it. But Fury's a little bit too far away for that at the moment. And once again, he's not really even pivoting. He's just turning his body to the side. Once again, because he's relied on this for so many years, usually as a defensive tactic when it comes against shorter and smaller fighters.
Might have staggered Wilder. Fury going on the attack. He feels like he has Wilder hurt.
Oh!
And a right for Fury. Or for Wilder. Tyson Fury is...
Let's rewind that actually. Hold on.
And a right... Biggest win. A right hand. It might have staggered Wilder. Fury going on the attack. He feels like he has Wilder hurt.
Oh!
And
Now, we just heard Kenny Bayless say stop twice there. And we saw Deontay Wilder hit Tyson Fury very clearly behind the head, or it looked like an attempt. And Kenny Bayless was very clearly said stop twice there. Yet no point deduction when it comes down to the overall. No warning towards Deontay Wilder. Please stop telling me that Tyson Fury was the one who had the advantage with the referee in this fight.
a right for Fury. Or for Wilder. Tyson Fury is pitching nearly a perfect game, Christina. Inside work, a right hand by Fury. Kenny Bayless now steps in between the two. Wilder seems exhausted.
Oh my goodness, he seems just like he cannot keep his balance. His feet are not steady. His feet are not set.
And again, like I said, the right hand that connected on the left ear may have affected the equilibrium of Deontay Wilder.
Is he?
Once again, notice how Tyson Fury is not giving up the basics. Keeps jabbing him to the face overall, even when he knows that he has him a little bit hurt, and he is trying to hit him with the right hand. Always leaning on him, always clinching with him, not giving Wilder a break whatsoever. Many people I showed this fight overall, or a couple people I showed this fight, they said, why is he fighting him like that? Why is he clinching with him? When it comes down to the overall, the reason overall why he's clinching with him is so he tires him out. Many people thought overall that was going easy on Deontay Wilder. Actually, no. He's actually wearing him out overall, the best that he can. So, when you take a look at overall it right here, actually, this is Fury overall trying to do his best work. This is Fury trying actually to knock out Deontay Wilder. He just knows that it's going to take some time.
Fighting off pure instinct right now.
It's probably on sheer guts and determination.
Mouth open.
Wilder is exhausted. Fury down goes Wilder.
And there goes the left hand to the body, which knocked him down. And you're going to see in the replay overall, I believe later on in the round, that it lands with the top part of the glove. So once again, the theory of his hand being lower into the fist, being lower into the glove, pretty much is nullified right there. Because if the hand was taped to be lower into the glove, you basically want to have a whole lot of power in that part of your hand overall, you know, if it was lower into the glove. But anyways. But the reason why Deontay Wilder got knocked down there, not only is he very tired, but once again, when he backs up, he does it very lazily when it comes down to the overall. You know, he's backing up sort of on the back of his heel. The top half of his body is leaning back when it comes down to the overall. Tyson Fury hit him with a left-hand shot to the body overall, which I'm sure definitely hurt because that usually is a liver shot, and that usually hurts like a bitch, to be honest with you. But really the reason why he got knocked down is because of his balance.
Potentially the biggest win for Tyson Fury if he can dethrone the WBC heavyweight champion of the world. What a moment for the Gypsy King, Deontay Wilder. He can't even stand up.
Kenny Bayless needs to take a good look at this.
We have 70 seconds remaining here in the fifth round. Wilder cannot keep himself upright. He's lumbering and stumbling.
By the way, just another little theory overall to prove the Wilder fans, wrong once again when it comes down to, they allege a part of the reason why Fury overall, another piece of evidence why he stuck one of his gloves, one of his hands lower into the glove is because some of his hand wraps are showing in the first fight, even though hand wraps will be on the forearm and sometimes they will show through. But do you see any hand wraps sticking outside of the gloves this time around? And they allege they have apparent evidence in both fights, by the way.
And clinching every time Fury gets close. Fury needs to give himself a little bit of distance to work, get back to using that jab, and set up his right hand.
An uppercut by Fury. Wilder looking for that big shot.
Once again, take a look every single time Fury comes forward, double jabbing him to the face or keeping that lead hand in his face, nullifying any weapon or any possible punch that could be coming his way from Deontay Wilder, and basically beating the shit out of him up against the ropes.
But he is literally on wobbly legs. Fury going to the body of Wilder.
Fury has 2 knockdowns in the fight. He cannot get careless and reckless.
A right hand by Fury. This place is going to explode.
Now we just seen Tyson Fury overall punch, and I only heard Kenny Bayless say stop once. Maybe he did say stop twice, But take a look at what he does here versus what he did with Deontay Wilder earlier in the round.
If Fury can stop Deontay Wilder. 1 point. He deducts a point. Kenny Bayless.
Once again, please stop telling me this stupid shit of how Deontay Wilder overall was not favored by the referee. That Tyson Fury was favored by the referee, Kenny Bayless, I think, tried his best overall to be somewhat objective when it came down to it, but like I said, quit telling me this bullshit overall that Tyson Fury was the one who had the complete advantage from the referee. As we can clearly see within these past couple of rounds, that was not the case.
Fury going on the offensive. But 1 point deducted. There's a right to the body by Fury.
And what that does is that helps one of those knockdowns.
A right hand by Fury. Fury's
Not only just punching him overall to the head once again and pushing him back up against the ropes, but clinching with him, leaning on him, going to the body. As you see, all this is wearing him down slowly.
swarming Wilder. Back comes Wilder. Wilder with the shot to the body. And away we go.
Wow.
So we're seeing that there is blood on from streaming from the left ear of Deontay Wilder. I think, Christina, he has a busted eardrum, and that affects your balance and your equilibrium.
I know we are not doctors, obviously, but there is definitely something wrong with the balance and stability of Deontay Wilder. And there is blood continuous.
And once again, take a look at overall. Now let's rewind that real quick. First of all, he gets knocked down because of horrible balance, which he usually has, especially when backing up. You know, he's not creating a very good vacated space. He's not using that long stride or his legs to correctly move back. He's slowly backing up. His opponent can see overall where he's going. As you see, Tyson Fury pivots and changes angles around to a different position to get him, you know, in a better punch position, or to get in better punching position. Also, take a look at how the left hand lands. Tell me if the glove looks floppy, and tell me overall, does he hit it with does he hit it with the inside of his glove, or does he hit him on top of the glove? Let's see.
We are not doctors, obviously, but there is definitely something wrong with the balance and stability of Deontay Wilder.
Now, let's just take a look at overall where Tyson Fury hits him with here. Let's see. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. Then I'll correct myself. But let's go 0.25 here.
There is blood.
Now, did that look overall a left hand to the body? That was at the bottom of the glove, at the palm part of the glove. Let's rewind it. Let's just rewind it one more time. Let's see. We're at 2028. All right. So let's see. 25. All right. So did that, once again, did that look like a part of the glove overall that was floppy? Did that look like a part of the glove overall that was landed with the bottom part of his glove? Or did that look like that was landed on top of his glove? Let's rewatch. Now, let's just take a look at this overall, the left hand. Now, first of all, and I got to get this through because a lot of people overall, once again, they are alleging this. I apologize to all the people who are not a part of this, but I got to overall get this through. So let's rewind this. See, 27. All right, so 26. Sure. You can very clearly see when Tyson Fury goes for a left hand to the body that his fingers curl up. Let's watch. You can see the thumb and the fingers clinch. Once again, man, these Deontay Wilder fans are something else.
There is blood continuously pouring from that left ear, from a right hand of Tyson Fury in round 2.
Yes, absolutely correct. And starting the 6th round, we'll see if the champion can reassert himself, but he still seems to be having issues with his balance.
What
a jab, and here comes Fury. Fury swarming Wilder.
And now you're going to see him start to go to the body once again. This is the final step overall in chopping down that tree. You know, he's making sure Wilder is tired, and now he knows for a fact that he's definitely getting tired. This is the final step of chopping down that tree. Now, not only is he leaning on him and, you know, tiring him out and overall making him carry his weights and, you know, clinching with him, yada, 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 but now he's starting to basically kill the body.
Fury wants to erase the memories of that draw in December of 2018.
And that was a punch on the back of the head right there. No warning given right there. We need to keep a close eye on some of those punches. Both have landed on, and another right hand lands by Tyson.
And the girl just said, let's actually rewind that. The girl just said overall, once again, to prove the Wilder fans wrong again. Let's see who lands a shot behind the head here.
And that was a punch on the back of the head right there. No.
Fury wants to erase the memories of that draw in December of 2018.
And that was a punch on the back.
And that was a shot behind the head, although it didn't look that severe, so I could understand why Kenny Bass maybe would not, you know, take a point away. But to not even comment on it, once again, quit telling me this stupid bullshit overall, Deontay Wilder fans, that Deontay was the one who had this disadvantage with the referee. Once again. But once you realize with Deontay Wilder fans, with the following that he has, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed. But let's continue.
Of the head right there. No warning given right there. We need to keep a close eye on some of those punches. Both have landed on, and another right hand lands by Tyson Fury.
Fury is crowding Wilder, and Wilder, it seems, is having issues with the physicality and of Tyson Fury.
A completely dominant performance to this point, but don't forget, anything can happen.
Once again, always sticking the jab in his face, always sticking the lead hand in his face to nullify his weapons, to keep him back, to keep him off balance, to blind him temporarily. You know, Deontay Wilder doesn't know what he's going to throw because Tyson Fury is intelligently keeping him guessing with the jab. He doesn't know if he's going to go to the body, doesn't know if overall he's going to go to the head, with his, incoming punch. So very good work here by Tyson Fury. And on top of that, you see him leaning on him. And when you clinch with somebody, when you don't want them to hit you, you stick your head in their shoulder, between their neck and their shoulder overall, to keep your head down low to make sure that they can't really hit you. The only possible punch that they could probably land at that range is a shot behind the head, which of course is illegal.
Heavyweight division, it is the hardest punch in boxing. It is Deontay Wilder's right hand. They have to keep going minute by minute, round by round.
And Wilder has the highest knockout percentage in heavyweight history. Fury with a right to the body. Coming up.
Once again, he's keeping him guessing, going to the head, going to the body, going to the head, going to the body, but always sticking that lead hand and his jab in his face. Once again, Wilder, he has no idea how to get past that lead hand.
There's Wilder languishing on the ropes. As a minute to...
Notice once again how he keeps sticking that lead hand in his face, and once he sees Wilder overall, trying to throw that right hand overall, he keeps putting it in his shoulder, or keeps putting it in his face, or somewhere around there. He keeps leaning down, and then he might come back up with a little hook.
And has come off the clock in this sixth round.
The problem is going to be that that Wilder derives that power for his right hand from his legs, and his legs are not there.
He hasn't had his legs underneath him since that of the second round. And Tyson Fury is fighting absolutely marvelous. This is the fight of his life. And now Fury pouring it on. We're over the halfway mark of the sixth. Fury inside. Look at them battle on the inside like true prize fighters. Blood coming out of the mouth of Deontay Wilder, the champion, being pushed to the limit like he never has before in his career.
Excellent right hand there by Mr. Tyson Fury.
Tyson Fury taking heavy breaths.
Once again, just trying to, and there's the lead hand there once again. A lot of people wonder overall why his wrist was bent there overall, stuff like that. The reason why he's doing that overall, once again, he's sticking the lead hand in his face overall to keep Deontay Wilder off of him. All right? So it is what it is. Anyways, but when it comes down to the overall, like I said, notice just what Tyson Fury is doing, and just imagine how exhausting it is to be punched constantly to the body, to be punched to the head. Not only, of course, does that hurt, but it will exhaust you after a while. To have a opponent who has a 40-pound weight advantage over you, leaning on you, clinching with you, dragging you around the ring. Once again, he's taking him into deep waters.
There, as he takes a break from that exchange. Mind you, Tyson...
A right hand by Fury, or for Wilder.
Oh!
They both exchange.
Big bombs land here in the last minute of round 6.
And if you're Deontay Wilder, you're going to be thinking, let me see if I can drag this out to the 8th or the 9th. Because Fury now is slowing down to a point. Said, Christina.
The guy said, if you're Deontay Wilder, you got to make sure you drag this out to the 8th or the 9th overall to try, probably to gain a second win. Deontay Wilder was not going to gain a second win here. And the reason why is because Fury, even though he doesn't look it, he actually is in excellent conditioning. He's always had a good gas tank. He keeps going to his body. He keeps tiring him out. Wilder eventually was going to go down.
Wilder is having issues with his balance. He held on to the top rope for a few seconds.
So much was made in the build-up of this fight about what was going to be the result of the cut over Fury's eye. Who would have thought it would be the blood from Deontay Wilder's left ear that would be causing issues in this fight?
And look at how overall he just completely leaned on him. That is absolutely exhausting, especially after basically 6 rounds of trying to fight Tyson Fury off of you.
Unbelievable turn of events, and now Fury sort of talking to Deontay Wilder. Final moments of the 6th as blood streaming from the left ear of Deontay Wilder.
His equilibrium is off.
Now let's take a look overall at the left hand that he threw there once again. Let's rewind that, because he throws one overall with the intention of hitting him with the top part of his glove. Now that overall he has him up against the ropes and overall he has a clear shot at him. So one must ask, if Tyson Fury really did have the knuckle or overall his hand lower in the part of the glove, why would he be trying to hit him consistently with also the top part of the glove? It's very clear that when overall he does slap Deontay Wilder, he's trying to get around the guard, or he's trying to grab him overall to get in another punch. He's trying to set up the punch. He's trying to place his head. That's what he's doing, which has been used by many, many fighters. But let's continue.
The sixth, as blood streaming from the left ear of
So let's play this in slow motion now. Let's see overall where Tyson Fury tries to hit him with. Does he try to hit him overall with the palm part of the glove, or does he try to hit him with the top part of the glove? Let's see.
Deontay Wilder.
Now, did that look like the palm part of the glove? Or did that look like it was the knuckle part of the glove or the top part of the glove to you, ladies and gentlemen? Because to me, that looked like the top part of the glove. But correct me if I'm wrong. And one would think, if you have tainted hand wraps or overall if you have tainted gloves, why would you not try to consistently hit him with the palm part of your glove?
Let's take a look back on Tyson Fury, his theatrics. Look at that from Tyson Fury.
Look at his eyes are closed. He is fighting on, like you said, pure guts, sheer will, and determination at this point.
I have never in my career have I seen Deontay Wilder look like that in the corner. This is what you have to deal with in adversity.
Tyson Fury, before we end this overall, before it ends in the next round, Tyson Fury once again was really the perfect type of fighter to perform this game plan against Wilder. He has a decent enough amount of power overall to keep Wilder back. He has a decent amount of skills and intellect to try and put Wilder back when it comes down to it overall. You know, and he really exposed every single one of his flaws in this fight. In the first fight, he exposed a certain amount of flaws that a lot of people already knew that he had. But in this fight, he really showed you a lot of the faults that Wilder has. All right? So that's the reason why he looks so dominant in this fight, because putting Deontay Wilder on the back foot really nullifies a lot of the weapons or weapon that he would really have.
Tyson Fury and Wilder swinging for the fences there at the end of the sixth as we enter the seventh.
Talking about it being a heavyweight fight and saying anything can happen. This wasn't necessarily what we were referring to.
No, we were not, but Christina, we mentioned that any result was possible, and right now Deontay Wilder has his back against the wall with the man in Tyson Fury who believes that he is moments away a left hook.
And once again, there's another left hook, and that's more of a slapping left hook to get around the guard of Deontay Wilder. Overall, to sort of get around that right hand just in case he were to keep it up and maybe to set up another punch, but it hit pretty flush that time.
From claiming the heavyweight championship of the world, what a warrior Deontay Wilder is. Many men would have succumbed after the second, not Deontay Wilder.
I mean, this is amazing what he's able to do right now, knowing as we're looking at his legs, how unsteady they are, how much his equilibrium is off, and that extra weight that Tyson Fury has put on so far has not been a factor. If anything, it has been a factor in helping with the power punches he has landed.
Also, that the fact that he is putting his body on Deontay Wilder.
Let's rewind that real quick once again. Hold on, because I want to rewind that jab.
A factor. If anything, it has been a factor in helping with the power punches he has landed.
Also, that the fact that he is putting his body on Deontay Wilder.
Once again, notice that he keeps with the basics. Wilder's hands are not up when it comes down to it overall. Tyson Fury is a very potent jabber when it comes down to it, you know. But once again, it began overall with the basics and it ends with the basics. And if you want to be successful in boxing, that's what you have to do. Stick to the basics. And there's the lead hand once again. Overall, even when Tyson Fury overall tries to, even when Deontay Wilder tries to stick that right hand in there again, what does Tyson Fury do? Or he tries to get that right hand off. What does Tyson Fury do? Overall, he ducks down and he sticks the left hand in Deontay Wilder's face to keep him off of him. That's what he's doing.
Here in Las Vegas, Deontay Wilder but boy, could he use a big right hand now. The left hook by Fury as he swarms Wilder. There's a right hand by Wilder, but it was blocked as Fury charging forward.
And maybe a little bit of a veteran tactic there, trying to kind of impose your
There's
weight.
a left hook by Wilder. You're absolutely right, Christina. Fury is closing the distance, and he is putting his body weight on Wilder. Wilder needs to stay away from the ropes.
He does not look
A
good.
right hand.
Do not look good.
It's teeing up. Tyson, and this one is over. Tyson Fury has become the new WBC heavyweight.
Well, good job to Mr. Tyson Fury. I thought that it was a fantastic performance overall, and credit to Deontay Wilder. He showed a hell of a lot of heart overall, as he usually does. But when it comes down to it, eventually his lack of fundamentals did catch up to him. So let's hope, since now I'm hearing that there is a possibility, or that most likely a third match is going to happen between the two of these guys, let's hope Deontay Wilder learns about some fundamentals. Let's hope he gets someone else in his corner overall to teach him some stuff, because if he does not adjust to any amount in this third fight, he's going to end up on his back. I can promise you that. And a lot of people overall had a problem with stoppage. Or I won't say a lot of people, but some people had a problem with the stoppage, including Deontay Wilder, of course, because, you know, he has a lot of heart and he's very prideful. But in my opinion, was Deontay Wilder going to get out of that? No, I don't think he was. I think overall, if he would have been in that ring any longer, I think Deontay Wilder would have had a serious injury on the table for him. All right? So it is what it is. But anyways, good performance by Tyson Fury. Let's hope Deontay Wilder, for his sake overall, makes some adjustments. And that's really all I have to say for today. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you all later.